Thank you for next this morning. California is still mired in a historic drought, and the push for more water conservation is on, everybody. But the pressure to cut down is putting a strain on some small businesses. Parker Collins joins us from Inglewood this morning with more. Parker, good morning to you.
Naturally, a laundromat is going to use a lot of water, and the more customers they get, the more water they're going to use, of course. But this is a big deal, especially for this place here, because it's one of her biggest bills, one of her biggest expenses. There were times she could not pay her water bill. So you add this on top of all the other pressures for a small business, right? And it makes the profit margin off a customer who brings their own supplies, their own quarters, and folds their own laundry virtually non-existent. A vending machine with detergents instead of candy, you'll pretty much only see in a laundromat. Terry Jones owns this one on the corner of La Brea and Century Boulevard.
As a teenager, I would just go on my own. I wouldn't even wait for my mom to go. I would just take my clothes and put them in a little wagon. I would take them down to a laundromat. And I loved washing clothes.
She bought the business as a side hustle and a nest egg. Then she got a loan to replace these old machines with more efficient ones and got her children to pitch in.
It's the one thing I want to do. I want to be an example to my family. I want my daughters to want to do what I do.
The utilities are some of Terry's biggest expenses. There were times she couldn't pay. One recent water statement shows she owes more than $5,000.
They've asked us to conserve water. As a business, how do you conserve water? As a laundromat, how do you conserve? You want to make sure your customers have what they need to do what they need to do.
The Public Policy Institute of California finds that to cover rising costs, water bills have been rising faster than inflation in many parts of California. This is when big changes are necessary, which for Terry could mean raising prices, but she refuses.
Everybody's paying their bills. Everybody has to make their ends meet. I don't benefit by taking money out of their pocket because they're me.
That 75-cent wash cycle makes a difference, especially for Elmer Alvarez and his family.
You feel when you go to the other laundromat and you spend more money, you feel that.
Stress really started getting to Terry when she learned she was laid off from her main 9-to-5 job. So what was supposed to kick in for retirement now needs to kick in much sooner.
I don't see us surviving in this economy the way things are set up. How am I going to leave a legacy for my grandkids if I can't even maintain what I already have, what I started?
Growing up, folding clothes was always her least favorite part. Watching her dream fold would be exponentially more painful. So Terry's been put on a payment plan in terms of her water bill. She pays each month a bit of the balance she owes on top of her new monthly charges, and so overall it becomes a pretty hefty burden.
And Parker, a lot of this talking about how the drought is impacting this small business, but there's also a coin shortage going on in our nation. How is that impacting this business as well?
Well, for a while, it really threw them for a loop. It was something, because of course they have to have quarters here. All the machines run off of that. She had to go to multiple bank locations and prove she owns and runs a laundromat in order to get the quarters that she needs. And it was also interesting, too, to hear that when she takes quarters into the machines, the banks don't really want to take those back unless they're rolled up and counted very neatly. And so the quarters she does take, it's really hard to recoup those. They stay here in the business. She really only makes money when you put dollars into that change machine. So it's an interesting business model. It has its unique difficulties.
I mean, so look, I mean, if business doesn't pick up, Parker, how much longer could Terry operate?
There's a lot of factors that go into that, and one thing Terry was telling me is the thing that concerns her the most right now is probably the loan she took out for all of this new equipment, right? I mean, that will come due here in a couple of months. So if you add that on top of all of her other expenses, if enough profit isn't coming in, that really could be the make or break moment.
All righty, sir. Thank you so much for bringing this to us this morning. Breaks your heart.
No, we're wishing her well.
It really does, yeah.
Sending her our best.
Yeah.